everyone, welcome back to another week of
Wonder, I wonder, come wonder with me.
That's right, I Wonder. This is a series of videos where you ask for questions and I try my best to answer them as we wonder together. This week, our question comes from Jack. Yay, Jack!
Hey Jack, what's your question for Miss Allie?
The question.
Can you ask the question first?
Was Jesus ever the first one in heaven?
Great question, Jack. We'll see if Miss Allie has an answer.
Wowee! Jack, that is a spectacularly amazing question. Was Jesus ever the first one in heaven? Yes. And Jesus is heaven. What? Allie, that sounds a little too crazy. How can Jesus be in heaven and also be heaven? You can't be a place. You're so right, Allie. So let's first look at what do we mean when we say heaven? In the cultures and languages of our Bible, the word heaven had two different meanings. Sometimes the heavens would be used to talk about the mysterious and sparkly world of outer space. Other times, and probably the most times, the heavens was used to talk about where God lives. So maybe that's why we always think about heaven being a place you go to, somewhere beyond our atmosphere. But what if heaven really is wherever God lives? Maybe that's somewhere beyond our atmosphere. Or maybe that's somewhere here on Earth. Or in our lungs. Or in our hearts. I wonder. Here's a cool way to look at it. This is heaven, God's space. It's the place where God's love and justice and kindness and silliness and curiosity rule. There's no room for worry, fear, bullying, sadness, or death here. And this is Earth, our space, the place where we live. We have schools for learning, communities for growing, and all kinds of fun things to play, explore, and create. We also have poverty, racism, pollution. We make rules that are unfair, build walls to keep people out, and hurt each other with our words, bodies, and ideas. When God first began creating, God's space and our space overlapped. We lived together, God and humans, and it was Tov. Good, amazing, spectacular, wonderful, filled with sunshine and love and peace. Then humans were like, ugh, God, leave us alone. We want our own space where we can be in charge. And suddenly, our shared space became two separate spaces. There was, however, one tiny space of overlap, the temple. For a lot of stories in our Bible, this is where God lived. First in a fancy tent, and then in an extravagant temple. But not everyone was allowed in the temple, and a lot of people had to travel a long ways just to get there. So that's where Jesus comes in. In John's Gospel, he starts with a story of how God took on bones, muscles, nerves, skin, clothes, and became human. That's Jesus. Jesus is God, and Jesus has always been with God in God's space. Heaven! And it only gets cooler because can buildings walk? No! But Jesus did. Jesus walked all over the place. And everywhere Jesus went, he brought heaven with him. Because heaven is God's space and Jesus is God. And now it's our turn. Did you know that Jesus filled us humans up with God's Spirit to help spread even more bits of heaven on earth? Yeah, crazy! Because here's the good news Jesus told us. Someday, heaven, the place where God lives, and earth, the place where we live, will fully overlap and become one space again, just like it was in the beginning. Now, all of this has got me wondering, what if the goal of life isn't to make sure we go to this otherworldly heaven God space when we die? What if the goal of life is to help God's heaven space, full of love and wonder and beauty and justice and peace, overlap with our human space, just like Jesus did? Whoa. Seems like a good time for an all play. Where do you see God's space, God's love, God's presence here on earth? Take some time and talk about it with the people around you. Where do you see God's space on earth? Jack, thank you for asking such a curious question. All this wondering really made me happy that God made you just the way you are. So keep being curious. And if anyone else has a question that they're wondering about anything at all, you can email them to me. Thanks for wondering with me.